What dirt does Jon Jones have on Dana White? Because after watching this clip from the UFC 302 post-fight press conference, just after Islam Makhachev's monumental win over Dustin Poirier, where he finished him in the 5th round, Dana White went off about how Jon Jones is actually better than Islam Makhachev pound for pound. And I'm telling you this right now, nobody even asked about Jon Jones whatsoever. Someone in the media just tried to give Makhachev praise and asked Dana where he stacked up in amongst all of the lightweights of all time in the UFC. Not a single question was asked about pound for pound. Not one was asked about Jon Jones. And Dana just went off, diminishing Makhachev's win and praising Jon Jones frantically, nervously. What is going on? This is crazy to see. Let it play. This is a Jon Jones, by the way, who's actively ducking his interim champion in Tom Aspinall. A joke. One of the biggest jokes we've ever had in the history of combat sports. Actively ducking his top contender in Tom Aspinall, that's his biggest threat, so he can wait and fight some old man in Stipe Miocic. Let it play. Listen to this in the post-fight press conference. Makhachev's just beaten Poirier.
Joe Rogan on the broadcast called Islam the perfect lightweight, and they're just the size, his style of fighting, just his fight IQ. I'm curious, like, where do you rank him in this pantheon of lightweights that we've seen over the years?
Yeah, I think.
So nothing to do with Jon Jones, nothing to do with pound for pound. Joe Rogan called Makhachev the perfect lightweight, as you guys just heard, and then the reporter asked Dana White, where do you think Makhachev, stacks up against the pantheon of lightweights in recent UFC history? So where do you think Makhachev stands as a UFC lightweight of all time? Nothing to do with Jon Jones. Nothing to do with pound for pound. How does Dana White respond? Surely he just praises Makhachev, right? Have a listen.
I think he's, one of the greatest of all time. I think he's incredible. I don't think he's the pound for pound best fighter in the world. For anybody to call Islam the pound for pound best fighter in the world when Jon Jones is still fighting.
Nobody mentioned Jon Jones. Nobody even mentioned pound for pound number one. That was not the question in any way. And you spent like 2 seconds before you went, and I don't think, I skipped over that bit. Did you hear what you just said? And I think he's incredible. And I think he's incredible. He was ready after 2 seconds to immediately diminish Makhachev in favor of Jon Jones. What the fuck is going on? What is going on in the UFC right now with Jon Jones? I feel like there's something greater, and who knows what this Rampage story might be. Who fucking knows what this Rampage story is going to be? Because he says he's got some big news on Jones that's going to shock the world. So I guess we'll find out in enough time. Something is going on in the UFC. What is that response? There's more to this as well. He goes on to just hammer this point home. No one brought up Jon Jones. No one brought up pound for pound. We're talking about lightweights of all time and Makhachev's performance tonight. And on this card, Makhachev's card, you're just making it all about Jon Jones. Here's the 3 options right here. They are fucking terrified that Jones's legacy is being absolutely made a fucking joke of now, because people are realizing with their brains and going back in time and looking and thinking, oh, hang on a second here. This dude's not for anyone his size that's well-rounded. Ever in his entire career. And people are going through Jon Jones' legacy and, well, he lost to Reyes. Okay. Well, that's interesting. And this preferential treatment that he's getting, what are we doing here? I want to let it play even more. But I want to break down every point of this. This is so fucking confusing to me. He has destroyed the company nearly on many occasions. He's ruined entire events. We know how Dana White feels about Jon Jones. We've seen the leaked text messages where he's calling Jon Jones names because Jones turned down the Chael replacement and ruined the whole event there. We've heard all about Dana's thoughts on this. He's not a fan of him. We've seen him backstage talking to DC saying, I'm sorry, DC, but Jon Jones has tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs again. I'm sorry, DC, I know. He fucked up. I'm so sorry, DC. And we've seen DC backstage saying, if you could just get me a waiver to sign, I'll still fight him even though he's on performance-enhancing drugs. Jon Jones has ruined so many events. He's ruined almost an entire division. He really has. Cheating, multiple performance-enhancing drugs in his system, multiple failed PED tests, multiple suspensions, outside of the Octagon stuff. What the fuck does he have on Dana White? That's the only thing I'm wondering. Is this all about Ngannou? Is this all about just having one up on Ngannou and saying, no, Jones was the most dangerous guy on earth? Not Ngannou, guys. That guy that left the company. Is that what it is? Does Jon Jones have dirt on Dana White? Are they about to announce Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones? I'm heated about this, you know. Are they about to announce Stipe versus Jon Jones this week? And this is him softening the blow and doing a little bit of, danger management beforehand, whatever that would be. I don't understand.
I think he's, one of the greatest of all time.
Okay, well, there you go. That 2-second compliment of Makhachev was given. And then immediately we snap to...
I think he's incredible. I don't think he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. For anybody to call Islam the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world when Jon Jones is still fighting is nuts and shouldn't be ranking in the pound-for-pound or doing any of the rankings ever.
Dana's fucking face when he does that shit is so fucking annoying, Dana. Shut the fuck up. For anyone to call anyone pound-for-pound number one while Jon Jones is around is a joke. Sorry, who the fuck marketed Makhachev versus Volkanovski as a fight for the number one pound-for-pound fighter on earth while Jon Jones was fighting? Not long after Jon Jones fought Cyril Gane and was the heavyweight champion? Sorry, who the fuck was that, Dana? Was that you? Huh? Because I think it was. So when you ask, who the fuck could ever, say Jones is pound for pound, not the top, while Makhachev is? You did. For Makhachev versus Volk. You did. Look at the nervousness. I mean, who could ever say that about Jon Jones? Nobody said anything, little bro. Nobody said anything. Whoa. Easy. Easy now, Dana. I didn't mean to touch a nerve by complimenting Makhachev as a lightweight of all time. Sorry. Didn't mean to, touch a nerve on the Jon Jones situation by merely asking a question about where Makhachev ranks amongst lightweights of all time. Nothing to do with Jon Jones. Nothing to do with pound for pound. Sorry, mate. Didn't realize something was on your mind. These guys are shitting themselves. People are realizing the fucking sham that Jon Jones' career has fucking been. Most failed tests out of any high-profile fighter in the UFC. Cancelled outside of failed tests. Shifted commissions for this guy. Remember that when he was supposed to fight Gustafsson in a rematch? And the commission there said, this guy's on performance-enhancing drugs. And the UFC went, well, forget that place then. We're going to another place. They shifted an entire event to find a more lenient commission that would allow Jon Jones to compete because another commission claimed he was on performance-enhancing drugs. So what are we talking about here, man? Why is this on your mind? It actually is pissing me off how much they're protecting this little pussy at the top. He's ducking Aspinall. You've got an interim champ defending his belt against Curtis Blades in Manchester at 5 a.m. while Jones fights an old man. This is like O'Malley fighting Cruz instead of Merab. But look at what Cruz has done for the history of the sport. He ain't done shit in a few years. I get angry. Let's listen more.
If that's what you really think. Jon Jones has never lost a fight ever. He's fought all the baddest dudes in the world. And then when you...
He ain't seen the Reyes fight then. Watched him lose the fight to Reyes. We all did. It's all good though. Still talking about Jon Jones.
Jon Jones has never lost a fight ever. He's fought all the baddest dudes in the world. And then when you think about what pound for pound rankings really...
Yeah, all the baddest, fat, 5'10", testosterone-less Pride FC fighters. And Vitor. Vitor wasn't testosterone-less. Okay? all these fat, saggy, 5'11" pride light heavyweights Jon Jones beat. Wow, dude. What a monster, dude. Back when light heavyweights for 5'11". Rampage is 5'11". Wow, dude, this guy's crazy. This Jon Jones guy. How did he do it? When light heavyweights were the size of an average welterweight these days? No way did he pull that shit off. On roids.
Really mean? He moved it up to heavyweight and destroyed the best dudes in the world. And then when you think about what pound for pound rankings really mean, he moved it up to heavyweight and destroyed the best guy in the world.
Gane? I mean, I know I picked Gane to beat his ass because I watched Reyes do it and I watched Santos nearly do it on one leg because Jones is so dominant. But I wouldn't say Gane's the best heavyweight in the world. I'd say fucking Aspinall is or Pavlovich was. By far. Because I'm seeing struggle life and death with Tuivasa and then take Spivak into later rounds and then finish him off by TKO by Cyril Gane. Take Volkov 5 rounds, Cyril Gane, lose nearly 2 of them, definitely 1 of the rounds. And then I'm seeing Aspinall smoke Pavlovich beyond that, smoke Spivak in about a minute or 2, smokes him. Want to talk about Pavlovich compared to Gane? The Tuivasa fight, the Derek Lewis fight. Gane had to pitter-patter around for 4 fucking rounds. Eventually he finishes Derek Lewis with back of the head shots. Pavlovich smoked him in 2 minutes, a minute and a half. Little bit of an early stoppage, but it likely would have been finished anyway. The Tuivasa fight. I didn't see Pavlovich get dropped by him. I saw him get hit once and then begin to smoke Tuivasa within a minute in the heavyweight division. So we move on to another. There's so much here of just frantic. Jon Jones, the Jon Jones, the Jon Jones, the pound for pound, the Jon Jones are the greatest, and the Jon Jones. Dana, we asked about Makhachev's performance and where he stacks amongst the current lightweights and the greatest lightweights of all time. Yeah, but Jon Jones, I mean, look what he did at heavyweight. What's on your mind, mate? Are you nervous? You want to reach out? What's happening, Dana? I'm feel bad for you, man. You're nervous? You're frantic? Ready to snap about Jon Jones? No one asked, little bro.
As long as Jon Jones is still fighting, active, and in the rankings, yeah, nobody's pound for pound best fighter in the world.
Well, to kind of go off.
I don't not disagree with this whole sentiment. Since when was Jon Jones still active and fighting? He ain't fought in a year and a half. And we don't even have a time on his comeback date yet. Jon Jones fought in January of 2023. Before that, he took like 3 years off. So, is he fighting an active or did he fight Cyril Gane and beat him because Gane weirdly just did nothing on the ground and let himself get put into a guillotine around the time that Ngannou was going to be fighting Fury and could have really made the UFC look bad if he went on to do quite well at PFL afterwards and didn't take the Joshua fight? What are we talking about here, man? He's not active. He's not an active fighter, and if he is, well, guess what? Aspinall's ready. Oh, wait, he's not. We got to wait. He's injured now. He wasn't injured for the past year. What is going on here? I don't understand. We let things play again.
Off that, Islam said he wanted that second belt. He wanted to go to welterweight. Is that something that, I know you have that welterweight title fight coming up. Is that something maybe you'll discuss with him, or do you want him to stick at lightweight?
So they're talking about Makhachev moving up to welterweight now. Again, nothing to do with Jon Jones. Okay, Dana, I tried to ask you about Makhachev's win, but you just ranted for a minute long about Jon Jones and why he's so great and why he shouldn't be disrespected legacy-wise. Okay, Dana, well, I'll try another question about Makhachev maybe, you bald fuck. Let's try one more.
I don't know. I mean, he hasn't said anything like that to us, so we'll see. Yep.
Just to go back to Islam, he's now on a 14-fight winning streak.
So just, you said nothing to us about welterweight. Sorry. They're talking about Makhachev again.
Which is the 3rd longest in history behind Anderson Silva and Usman. What would it take for him to surpass Jon Jones in your mind for that pound-for-pound number 1?
So now this is specifically about Jon Jones. Okay, we've tried Makhachev questions. He doesn't want to talk about Makhachev. He's giving one-word answers when we ask about Makhachev moving up to welterweight. I don't know. We haven't heard anything about that. One little sentence answer about Makhachev. When do I get to talk about Jon Jones again and how everyone needs to stop disrespecting his credentials? Let us get away with this Stipe fight and let him retire so we can say that Ngannou wasn't the most dangerous man of all time. So they ask an actual question. Okay, we want answers out of Dana. We got to ask about Jon Jones, I guess.
I mean, when you think about what pound for pound really means, right?
It means regardless of weight, who's the best?
He fought Volkanovski, who's a weight class lower than him. Jon Jones beat everybody at light heavyweight, then beat the best heavyweight in the division like it was nothing.
Okay, first of all, his light heavyweight wins haven't aged too well on that recent run. His best aged light heavyweight win over the past probably 7 years or 6 years or so was Anthony Smith by decision. He lost to Reyes, clearly got given a robbery decision. Arguably could have lost to Santos on one leg. Where are they now? How are they doing right now? And then we hear, you know, Volk moved up to fight Makhachev. Like, let's listen to that again.
Who's a weight, right? He fought Volkanovski, who's a weight class lower than him. Jon Jones beat everybody at light heavyweight, then beat the best heavyweight in the division.
Now, let's get to this again. The best heavyweight in division didn't have an understanding of what was going on the ground after he'd been training for a decade in MMA. Weird, but it's all good. Instead of just saying, you know, Makhachev's really good, but man, Jones is good. You know, Makhachev fought a featherweight in Volk. I'll tell you something right now. Volk is less small compared to Makhachev than Rampage was against Jones, than Vitor was against Jones, than DC frame-wise was against Jones. I know he's a fat little midget, but he's still not a big dude size-wise. I just saw him next to Habib in a locker room post-fight UFC 302. They're about the same height. Other people, Shogun Hua is less stark of a difference than Volk Makhachev to Jones Shogun. Rampage, I've already been over this. Rashad, these are 5'11" men. And Jon Jones is nearly 6'4". I know Makhachev's bigger than Volk, but it's arguably as much of a difference. But just, so if Volk was just fighting at lightweight, it would mean way more then. So it's not about the size, is it? At all. It's nothing to do with the size. Because Jones fought smaller men his entire fucking career until he fought Gane. And then now he's beat Gane. That's it. No more people my size. Gustafsson maybe. And remember the second time he fought Gus, you know, they had to move the entire event because a commission considered him an abuser of performance-enhancing drugs. At the actual moment that they tried to move the event, they shifted it to a whole new commission that would be more lenient on Jon Jones. So he looked good there in the rematch. In the first fight, not so much. What are we doing, man? Like, what is this cope? What is this jittery, nervous... Jon Jones. I mean, you know, Volk's way smaller than Makhachev, though. Oh, and Shogun isn't smaller than Jones? No, everyone gives him credit for that. Lyoto isn't. How many middleweights has Jon Jones fought in his career? Because I'm counting Vitor. I'm counting Lyoto. I know these guys have fought at heavier weight classes, but they can go lower. I'm talking Lyoto, Shogun, Vitor. I'm talking many more fighters. I'm talking Chael came up. That was a bullshit fight. How's that legacy? No offense to Chael, but still. How's that legacy? That's a bullshit fight. Rashad's a middleweight sized dude. Eventually fought at middleweight later on in his career as well because he leaned out. Rampage is a middleweight sized dude. He's 5'11". These are all middleweights. I know they were fighting in a higher weight class at the time, but in terms of frame, they're like middleweight sized guys, not even big middleweights. Look at Pereira at middleweight. Look at like other people's frame at middleweight that we've seen. Vittori is taller than Rampage. Vittori like isn't even a tall middleweight, and he's taller than Rampage. He's taller than Shogun. This who Jones was fighting. So why are we going to diminish Makhachev because Volk is a featherweight? Let it play.
Like it was nothing at a higher weight class.
So I mean,
Jon Jones is absolutely positive.
And before the media member can even go, so does that mean about, you know, we asked you about how Makhachev stacks up. So does that mean, and then he just goes, Jon Jones is a fucking
at a higher weight class.
So I mean,
Jon Jones is absolutely positively
Just snap. So Jon Jones is absolutely positively.
the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, probably the greatest fighter of all time in any sport. When you
That can be, listen, this can all be argued if you count PED abusers and cheats. That Dana White knows he is. You're the one who was there while they were dishing out these sentences. I didn't hear you saying, Jones shouldn't have had that much of a sentence. The pulsing picogram shit was the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my fucking life. What are we talking about here? Like, I do not understand why they would want to benefit this guy. He has done nothing but bad for the sport. He's never had a real fun fight unless he's been actually getting his ass beat by Reyes and Gustafsson in moments as well. The Gustafsson fight was one of the most overrated fights in UFC history. This guy is arguably incapable of crazy excitement. The light heavyweight run that he had of Santos, Reyes, and Smith when he came back, they are some of the shittest title fights you can see. Reyes made it interesting because he was beating Jon's ass in moments of that fight. There was never a moment of Jon beating his ass. I bet he wishes there was. Fucking hell. Let it play.
You think about, when you talk about who's the baddest dude in the world, you put two guys in a room and who walks out? Jon Jones walks out of the fucking room every time.
Does he? He wouldn't have against Reyes. Imagine if Reyes was allowed to kick him in the face after dropping him to the ground in round one. You put Jones in a room, he walks out. Let's try that with Aspinall. Oh, wait, we don't need to find that out. Let's just say Jon Jones beats everyone because he beat Garner, who can't grapple. Let's just say that and then never find out if it's true. Look at Dana's eyes here. What is this? This is Makhachev's moment. And we're just diminishing him to praise Jon Jones. Why? Why? Put Jon Jones in a room, he walks out. Don't get me wrong, he likely does against a vast majority of the population. Bar one person, maybe Aspinall right now. Maybe Ngannou. And Dana knows that as well. He knows that maybe Ngannou. So this is why he's so heavy on this. I'm against Ngannou leaving the UFC. I'm against what fighters want because it's against what fans want most of the time. But this is just bullshit to do. Quit coping. Put Jon Jones in a room. He's coming out. Hey, put him in a closet. He'll never come out. How about that?
No question about it.
Yeah. And in no way trying to diminish Jon's accomplishments, but he's
But
but he's fought once in the last however many years. Islam's fighting multiple times a year, defending. So at what point does activity outweigh Jon's?
Beautiful. I like that you asked that question. Let's talk about activity. 3 years off. Nobody, not even Ali. Nobody's ever come from 3 years off and looked the same. Jon Jones walked through the number one guy in the heavyweight division like it was nothing with 3 years off.
You want to know why? I don't know much about Muhammad Ali because I'm young-ish. I'm fairly certain he took 3 years off because he was against the conscription to the war. Some kind of war. He was against it. And that's why he had some time away from his career, if I'm not mistaken. And religiously sort of stood against it, and that they sort of ostracized him for it at the time. Even though he stood against it, he didn't want to be conscripted, and there was a whole thing about that. That might have been the 3 years off. There may have been injuries. Who knows what the other reasons were? You want to know why Jon Jones came back after a few years and did well when no one else could? Because when other people come back after years off, 2 years off, 3 years off, you want to know why they done it? Sometimes it's GSP coming back and looking good against Bisping. Sometimes it's that. Majority of the time, they're injured. They actually have a fucking reason to be off. Why was Jon Jones off for years? He ain't retire, not once. We still don't know the answer. Why did he wait 2 years to move to heavyweight until Ngannou had left, and then all of a sudden he's real fucking ready? Why? Why? Why did he spend an average USADA suspension of time off with no explanation before moving up to... I was just building up to heavyweight, guys. He came in with an extra 15 pounds of belly fat. Fuck all else. I was just building lean muscle for 2 years the right way. Came back looking like Big Terrier. Before that, why was Jon Jones off before he came back against OSP? Why was he off before he came back against Gustafsson? This guy came back from years off and still looked good. Why was he off? Because he was serving performance-enhancing drug-based suspensions from the fucking sport. And you know that, Dana. Did he fuck you in your bum with video? Because why the fuck are you acting like this? He has done nothing but try to destroy your company from the fucking moment he stepped foot in it. You got fighters who do nothing but serve the company well, and you treat them like shit. The fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, Jon Jones is the best ever. Ever. And when I say ever, I mean...
Look at this! Dude, I'm not overreacting here. Ever! No one's arguing in this arena right now. I'm arguing with you now. Nobody is arguing this from the media. Whoa, sorry. I didn't realize you were that strong about this Jon Jones opinion. Nobody is asking you this in the MMA media right now. Look.
Yeah, Jon Jones is the best ever. Ever. And when I...
Whoa, ever. Okay.
I say ever, I mean in any combat sport.
Oh, that needed to be mentioned because Ngannou went to boxing. That goes without saying, so why say it? You know the MMA fighters beat boxers. Because Ngannou went to boxing.
He's the best ever. You throw Jon Jones in a room with anybody, Jon Jones walks out of the room.
Jon.
His little smile, dude. So let me tell you this. Throw him in with Tom Aspinall. Or do we not need to test the theory? Because Reyes beat his fucking ass and got robbed. And now his career's fucked. Not enough did he just get a robbery. He's also on PEDs as well. Reyes' career's fucked now. Trains his whole fucking life for something. Every day of his fucking life since he's been training. To be the best in the world. To fight Jon Jones and beat him. He does it. He reaches the mountaintop. He's waiting there ready for his hand to get raised. They raise Jon Jones' hand. One judge gives him a 4-1 scorecard. Reyes has never been the same since. Gustafsson in a rematch. Again, you shifted the entire event. We can go over this so many times. DC. People act like... DC acts like he got KO'd by Jon Jones. He didn't. It's a no contest because Jon Jones had the testosterone levels of a fucking castrated male. An unsullied human. They took Grey Worm out the Unsullied. Same test levels as Jon Jones. What are we doing, man? You know that, Dana. You know that. You're not dumb. You saw his test levels. They were made public. Something 100 million % had to have been replacing his testosterone for that fight. And you fucking know that. And here you are shilling for him. Some guy who's made a mockery of your fucking sport from the get-go. And you know that. So what is this?
Saying he's fighting Stipe November 9th in New York.
So what do you think about Jones, the undisputed champion of heavyweight, while Aspinall is the interim heavyweight champion? What do you think about him saying that, you know, he wants Stipe next? What do you think about an undisputed champion saying that he doesn't want to fight his interim champ and instead wants to fight some fucking old man who looks like shit on the pads because he ain't fought in 4 fucking years? Pereira's entire UFC legacy has happened up until now since Stipe's last fucking fight in the UFC. So what do you think about that, John? What do you think about that, Dana? What do you think about an undisputed champ fucking ducking his interim belt blatantly? What do you think of that?
Is that
I love it.
Yeah, nothing's official yet, though, obviously.
Yeah, I'm in.
Jones's legacy don't fucking count. Jones's legacy don't fucking count. They wanted a Muhammad Ali. They wanted a Roy Jones Jr. They wanted a this guy, that guy, this legacy, that legacy. They wanted a Floyd Mayweather. They artificially manufactured him in a fucking lab. Let him get away with... Well, I'm not going to say... I don't know. I've said too much anyway. I don't give a fuck, dude. This is bullshit. This is the biggest bullshit ever. You wanted a GOAT of the sport. You artificially made him. Ain't shit about that dude natural, other than his inner thoughts. Actually, no, those aren't natural if you ask a certain God. See you later. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. Goodbye. Shit pisses me off, man. Never seen treatment like this for a fighter. We've never seen such preferential treatment for a fighter that has done nothing but destroy the UFC's promotion since the get-go. We ain't never seen it. And remember, the opening question was, what did you think of Makhachev's win? Where do you think he stacks against the other lightweights right now and of all time? That's where this 30-minute video started from. What's the dirt? We need answers, Dana. What's the reason for it? I'd love to be able to sit there with Dana and actually ask him, why the fuck are you helping this guy? Why the fuck are you going so far out of your way to publicly fucking humiliate yourself to look like a little cunt on an interview when asked about Islam Makhachev, you little bald cunt, for a guy who's a fucking wife beater of multiple occasions and a PED abuser in your sport? You know both of those things. You know he is a wife beater. You know he is a PED abuser. You know he showed up to fight Daniel Cormier in their rematch with the testosterone level of a castrated male. Something 100% had to have been replacing his testosterone, and you fucking know it. Why is he the only one getting this treatment? I guess we'll never know. Blades, take a dive, dude. Take a dive and do what's right. Don't even try fluke it. See you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip.